Have you ever had that moment when your instincts screamed at you that something was terribly wrong, but you couldn't explain why? That gut feeling that makes your skin crawl and your heart race? I had always trusted my intuition. But after what happened in 2013, I learned just how right those feelings could be. It started when my parents were house hunting. Like any good daughter, I tagged along to give my opinion. The house we visited that day seemed perfectly normal at first. A charming 2-story colonial with fresh paint and well-maintained gardens. The owner, Mrs. Henderson, greeted us with what seemed like genuine warmth. Her silver hair neatly styled, her clothes impeccable. But something felt off. As Mrs. Henderson led us through the house, I noticed how she would occasionally pause, mid-sentence, her head tilting slightly, as if listening to something none of us could hear. But it wasn't until we reached the master bedroom that everything changed. My parents were asking about the heating system when Mrs. Henderson suddenly stopped speaking. Her face, God, I'll never forget how her face changed. It was like watching a mask slip, revealing something dark and ancient beneath. Her warm smile transformed into this twisted grimace, and her eyes became completely empty. Like looking into black pools of nothing, the temperature in the room seemed to drop 20 degrees. My parents were still talking, seemingly oblivious to what was happening. But I saw it. I saw how Mrs. Henderson's head jerked unnaturally to the side, how her fingers twitched and curled like spider legs, how her tongue darted out to wet her lips in quick reptilian flicks. We didn't buy that house, thank God. But the story doesn't end there. No, it gets worse. Much worse. 3 months later, my husband and I moved into our first home together. Different house, different neighborhood, different city entirely. But something followed us. Or maybe something was waiting for us. It started with the hallway light. Every night at 3:17 a.m., it would switch off. Every single night. My husband blamed faulty wiring, but I knew better. I could feel eyes on me whenever I walked that hallway alone. If you're going to keep obsessing over a light bulb, maybe you should see someone, my husband would say. But he hadn't seen what I had seen in Mrs. Henderson's eyes that day. He hadn't felt what I felt. The laundry room became my breaking point. One afternoon, while folding clothes, I heard humming. Not from upstairs or outside, but from right behind me. The kind of tune you'd hear an elderly woman hum while doing housework. I spun around, but of course no one was there. Just the washing machine, the dryer, and that suffocating feeling of being watched. But here's the part that still haunts me. The reason I'm sharing this story today. Last week, I was going through some old newspapers, researching the history of our house, and there she was, Mrs. Henderson. The article was from 1987, detailing how she and her husband had died in a house fire. In this house, my house, the photo showed her standing proudly in front of a familiar colonial home. But what made my blood run cold wasn't just that she had been dead for 26 years when we met her. It was her eyes in the photograph, the same empty black pools I had seen that day in 2013. Sometimes, late at night, I still hear humming from the laundry room. And sometimes when I gather enough courage to look, I see a figure in the doorway. Silver hair, impeccable clothes, that twisted grimace, and she's always watching. They say home is where the heart is, but sometimes what's waiting in a home isn't a heart at all. It's something much, much darker.